all the double edge teeth. And all you do is, I like to set it up right from the very back, and I'll just go up and down. And again, you want to keep it perpendicular with the wood. Just go up and down. Just go up and down like that. And that's how you get the sharpness in between the points. And then the other side, we're smoothing out all the rough spots. Now, when the edge starts to roll over like this, we're talking about, that is called a burr. So when you're sharpening the flat side of the knife, you're getting the burrs off. So you're just kind of kicking them off there. So that's how you sharpen the flat. That's how you sharpen the flat side. You smooth it out like that. All right, and then you just sharpen up and down. And again, what you want to do is periodically, especially when you're a new sharpener. I know half the time when I'm sharpening knives when I was brand new, I'm like, oh my God, am I doing this right? So there's a couple ways you can always check. Every time I'm sharpening back and forth, I want to make sure I'll just bring the knife all the way to the bottom, and I'll look, is that perpendicular with the wood? Because sometimes I'm like, I'm sharpening and trying to talk to the customer, and I don't realize I'm like, the knife's like off to the side like that. I'm like, oh crap. So then you got to kind of sharpen a little bit more. So you want to make sure you keep it perpendicular with the wood. All right, and practice this a little bit, because what you'll find is the more you know how to sharpen knives, the more you'll learn how to talk to Mrs. Jones while you're sharpening. I remember getting my driver's license, and the guy was like, I was like both hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, and I was driving. The driving instructor was like, you want to stay like that, or release your driver's test, and eventually you learn how to drive with one finger. I'm like, no way, I'm never gonna learn how to do that, right? And next thing I'm driving with my knees, and also. So what I mean by that is you'll learn how to just sharpen knives and just be like, yeah, so how long you guys live in the area? Oh, okay, cool. So you guys have been here for a couple, because you go to high school here. Also, you can just learn how to talk with customers, and you'll know how to move the knife properly, and be able to talk to Mrs. Jones at the same time. Because one of the things that you'll want to do while you're sharpening is keep conversation. Because if you stop talking and they're just sitting there, they're gonna be like, all right, well, I'm gonna go read the mail. All right, so go do something else that's more interesting. So watching people sharpen knives isn't really fun, so I like to engage them, talk to them. If it helps you, if you're newer, that's when I'll go over the double edge, I'll go over the warranty with them. It's not a bad idea when you start sharpening someone's Cutco to bring out the Cutco warranty or a picture of the double edge, and then show them how it's designed, and then to show them how we're sharpening it. Okay? So again, just to kind of recap on how we're actually sharpening the knives with the double edge. What we're doing is we're not regrinding teeth on there. All we're doing is, first of all, we're the burrs that are off to the side, we're just honing those off so that they come off so it's really nice and smooth. And then what we're doing is we're sharpening the edges in between. See how the double edge has 3 recessed straight edges? So the sharpener goes right in between. So it's like the arc. This is a very bad picture of the arc of the Cutco double edge. But anyways, that's about what it looks like. And so what we do is we're just sharpening the arc between. That's how the sharpener is working. It's sharpening the edge between the points. So that's what gets it that really clean cut. So you want to just go over that back and forth. The biggest thing that is going to sharpen a double edge is making sure all the burrs are off. That's what's going to get a really clean cut. And then again, you sharpen the other side between the double edges. Okay. And again, you want to make sure when you're sharpening the flat side that you want to make sure you're not too close to the stone, because you're going to start scratching your customer's knives, especially the spatula splitter. The spatula splitter does not have that kind of divot into the side of the blade like this. Right, so that it's easier to scratch the knife. So you want to make sure you keep it at a perpendicular angle, just kind of go up and down like that. And then the angle that I like to have it at, I like to hold the sharpener kind of in front of me, so that I can just kind of keep my the knife like this. I'm just going to go back and forth, up and down. All right, that's it. A couple ways that you can test if the double edge is sharp is you can take a piece of leather out, you can cut the leather, you can try and cut it beforehand and then cut it afterwards, and you can see the big difference. A good helpful thing to do is to do a test before you start sharpening the knives in front of your customer. All right, so they see okay, so hold up the leather, have them try and cut through it, see if it doesn't go very well, and then sharpen the knife and then have them cut it again. And then they physically see, whoa, big difference. And we can get Cutco super, super sharp. Now, obviously, the best sharpness that you get on a Cutco knife is directly at the Cutco factory. If you go to a customer's house and the double edge, especially this happens for those of you guys who've done a lot of service calls, you know what I'm talking about, and they have a trimmer, and that trimmer, all the double edge teeth are worn off. There's nothing left. What I do with that customer is I just say, hey, it looks like you like your trimmer a lot. What I'm probably going to suggest is going to be a little too difficult for me to sharpen. Just send it back to Cutco to completely regrind it for free. All right, so don't feel bad if you need to tell your customer they should send back their Cutco if it's super, super dull, especially if you're feeling like that, because I've done that for people. and it shows professionalism. You don't want to try and get fancy. I remember when I was too nervous to tell them to do that, I just sat there and sharpened one knife for 15 minutes. I'm going to get this sharp. They're working on it back and forth, and then eventually I just got to the point. I'm like, hey, obviously you should probably send these back to get sharpened. You should probably have some other ones too, so you're not wearing these one out so fast. And that's what helps people get more Cutco. Okay? But when it comes down to it, service calls are awesome. You guys can learn a lot on service calls. People who own Cutco are the greatest ones to see. What I would do if I were you guys, I would go on Vector Connect. I would purchase your sharpener. I would practice using it on your own knives. And then if you have a couple of customers you've met who already own Cutco, just see if they'll let you come over and practice on their knives. And obviously, you'll make sure that you get it sharp. And if you want, sometimes you can go field training on that with an FSM. Watch them do service calls. I know Sarah Tompkins in her office has lots and lots of service calls. So she gets quite a few people field training with her. And good thing to do, good thing to learn. But anyways, you want to make sure you have this in your sample kit. This is an excellent thing. I almost think sample kits should start coming with these, especially when you work in an area where there's a lot of Cutco. I know in Ventura County, you've got over 10,000 customers who own Cutco already. That's a lot of people. So a lot of our representatives are starting to learn how to sharpen knives. There's different qualifications of what it's going to take for you to start sharpening knives. I know some of your managers, you can ask your managers about that. You might have different qualifications in your office. But it's a great asset, great thing to have in your sample kit. And the end.